For decades, California has been the promised land. But for millions, that golden dream is turning into a financial nightmare. Beneath the veneer of sun-drenched prosperity lies a stark and increasingly unbearable reality. The sheer scale of what it costs to simply exist, to house a family, to buy groceries, to commute to work, to secure childcare, has reached a breaking point for a vast segment of the population. The gap between aspiration and affordability has widened into a chasm, trapping individuals and families in a relentless struggle to keep their heads above water. The promise of California has become a relentless pursuit of solvency, a constant calculation of whether the next paycheck will cover the mounting bills. Is the California dream still alive, or has the unbearable cost of living made it an impossible illusion? We delve into the heart of this paradox, exploring how the dream has become a burden for so many and what it truly means to live in the Golden State today. The rent trap, where your paycheck disappears. Nowhere is California's affordability crisis more acutely felt than in the realm of housing, specifically rent. For millions, a significant, often overwhelming portion of their income vanishes into the hands of landlords, leaving precious little for anything else. This isn't just about high prices. It's about a systemic issue that has transformed what was once a foundational aspect of stability, a place to call home, into an elusive luxury. Let's look at the numbers, and they are stark. Consider the average asking rent for a one-bedroom apartment in Los Angeles. In 2000, it hovered around $850. By 2010, it had climbed to approximately $1,200. Fast forward to 2020, and that same one-bedroom unit averaged over $1,800. As of 2024, it's not uncommon to see prices exceeding $2,400 for a standard one-bedroom. That's a nearly 180% increase over 24 years. San Francisco tells an even more dramatic story. A one-bedroom apartment that might have cost around $1,500 in 2000 surged to over $2,200 by 2010, and a staggering $3,000 plus by 2020. While there have been slight fluctuations in recent years, especially post-pandemic, the general trajectory remains relentlessly upward. In 2024, the average rent for a one-bedroom in San Francisco still hovers around $2,800 to $3,200, depending on the neighborhood. These aren't just figures. They represent real people's diminished futures. For a median household income in California, which was approximately $84,907 in 2022, a monthly income of roughly $7,075 before taxes, spending $2,500 on rent means dedicating over 35% of gross income to housing alone. The generally accepted guideline for rent burden is spending more than 30% of your income on housing. For many low and middle-income Californians, this percentage easily climbs to 40%, 50%, or even higher, pushing them into a state of severe housing cost burden. What's driving this relentless ascent? Several factors converge to create this pressure cooker. Firstly, basic economics. Supply and demand. California has a chronic housing shortage. Despite its vast population and economic might, construction simply hasn't kept pace with demand. Restrictive zoning laws, environmental regulations, and local opposition to new developments have severely limited the creation of new housing units, especially in desirable urban and coastal areas. For instance, in 2023, California permitted roughly 110,000 new housing units, while estimates suggest the state needs closer to 180,000 annually just to keep up with population growth and alleviate the current deficit. This persistent undersupply ensures competitive bidding and inflated prices. Secondly, Proposition 13, enacted in 1978, caps property tax increases, ostensibly protecting homeowners. While it has benefited long-term residents, it also disincentivizes new construction by limiting tax revenue for public services that new residents would require. It also contributes to a reluctance among existing homeowners to sell, further limiting supply, as their property tax base remains low while the market value of their home soars. Thirdly, California's booming tech industry and its high-paying jobs have attracted a massive influx of talent, particularly in the Bay Area and parts of Southern California. These highly compensated workers can afford higher rents, driving up prices for everyone else. This creates an economic ripple effect, pushing out those in service industries, education, healthcare, and other vital sectors that simply cannot compete. Many essential workers, who are the backbone of the state economy, are forced into punishingly long commutes, spending hours in traffic to live in areas they can afford. Consider Maria, a registered nurse in San Jose. She earns a respectable salary, but even with her income, she struggles to find a decent two-bedroom apartment for her and her child for less than $3,500 a month. This means over 45% of her take-home pay is gone before she even buys groceries. She now lives 50 miles away, enduring a 2-hour commute each way, sacrificing precious time with her daughter for the slim chance of affordability. Or David, a young software engineer in Los Angeles. He shares a cramped 2-bedroom apartment with 3 other roommates, each paying over $1,000 for a small space, despite earning what would be considered a comfortable salary in most other states. He often wonders if the opportunity is worth the constant financial pressure. These aren't isolated incidents. They are the pervasive reality for a significant portion of California's workforce. Beyond the roof, everyday expenses at cripple. While housing often dominates the conversation, the truth is that the unbearable cost of living in California extends far beyond rent or mortgage payments. Virtually every aspect of daily life comes with a premium, quietly chipping away at residents' financial stability. It's a relentless drain that leaves little room for savings, emergencies, or even small indulgences. Let's dissect these everyday expenses, and the figures are telling. Take groceries, a fundamental necessity. In 2024, a typical grocery bill for a family of 4 in California can easily range from $1,000 to $1,200 per month, significantly higher than the national average, which hovers around $800 to $900. For comparison, the average monthly grocery expenditure per person in California in 2023 was estimated to be around $300 to $350, whereas the national average was closer to $250 to $280. This isn't just due to higher quality. It's the higher cost of labor, transportation, and simply operating a business in the state. Fresh produce, even from California's own fertile farms, can be shockingly expensive in urban markets. Then there's transportation. California's vastness often necessitates reliance on personal vehicles, and the cost of fuel is consistently among the highest in the nation. In 2023 and 2024, while national average gas prices have fluctuated between $3.50 and $4 per gallon, California's average has frequently hovered around $5 to $6 per gallon, and even higher in certain regions. This adds hundreds of dollars to monthly budgets for commuters. Beyond gas, car insurance rates are among the highest due to traffic density and a higher incidence of accidents and theft. Maintenance, registration, and the inevitable cost of traffic tickets further compound the financial burden of owning a vehicle. Public transport, while available in major metropolitan areas, can be costly and often doesn't cover the sprawling distances many Californians traverse. Childcare is another colossal expense that pushes many families to brink. In 2024, the average annual cost of infant care in California can exceed $17,000 to $20,000 per child, ranking among the most expensive states for childcare. For 2 children, this could easily amount to $35,000 to $40,000 annually, often rivaling or even surpassing the cost of college tuition in other states. This places an immense burden on working parents, forcing difficult choices between career progression and financial solvency. Many are simply priced out of licensed care, relying on informal arrangements, or one parent being forced to leave the workforce entirely, sacrificing income. Healthcare costs, even with insurance, remain a major concern. While California has expanded access, premiums can still be steep, and out-of-pocket expenses for deductibles, co-pays, and prescriptions add up quickly. A typical family health insurance premium could easily run $1,500 or more per month, with individual plans costing several $100s, a significant portion of income for many. These are not just statistics. They're the daily calculations made by millions. When a family spends an average of $2,500 on rent, $1,000 on groceries, $500 on gas and transport, $1,500 on childcare, and $800 on healthcare and utilities, they are already looking at monthly expenses exceeding $6,300. This often leaves very little, if anything, for savings, emergencies, or quality of life improvements. The phrase living paycheck to paycheck is not a cliche in California. For many, it is a grim reality. The exodus, who's leaving and why, with such overwhelming financial pressures, it's perhaps unsurprising that California, once the ultimate destination, has become a place in which people are increasingly departing. This phenomenon, dubbed the California exodus, isn't just anecdotal. It's a measurable demographic shift with significant implications for the state's future. For years, California boasted net immigration, attracting more people than it lost. However, this trend began to reverse in the mid-2010s. Between 2010 and 2020, California's population grew by a modest 6.1%, but much of that growth was attributed to births rather than migration. More recently, the data is starker. From 2020 to 2023, California experienced a net outflow of over 900,000 people. While some of this can be attributed to the pandemic's impact on remote work, the underlying trend of outmigration due to affordability precedes COVID-19 and continues. Where are these former Californians going? The primary destinations are states like Texas, Arizona, Florida, Nevada, and Idaho. These states offer a dramatically lower cost of living, particularly when it comes to housing. For example, the median home price in California in 2024 hovers around $840,000, while in Texas, it's closer to $350,000, and in Arizona, around $430,000. This staggering difference means that the equity gain from selling a modest California home can purchase a much larger, more desirable property in another state, often with money left over. The reasons for leaving are consistently cited: the prohibitive cost of housing, the general high cost of living, relentless traffic congestion, and, for some, the state's tax burden. While California's income tax rates are high for top earners, the true economic drain is often felt through indirect costs and sales taxes on everyday goods and services. For families, the allure of a better quality of life elsewhere, where their earnings stretch further, becomes irresistible. A 2-hour commute in Los Angeles might translate to a 20-minute drive in Phoenix or Dallas, freeing up precious time for family or leisure. Consider Sarah, a teacher who moved from Orange County to Boise, Idaho, in 2022. She sold her small condo for a good price and bought a beautiful, spacious home with a yard for her children at less than half the cost. Her salary, while slightly lower, now provides a far higher disposable income. It was heartbreaking to leave, she recounted. California was home, but I couldn't give my kids a life they deserve there. Here, we breathe easier. Then there's Mark, a small business owner who relocated his entire operation from San Francisco to Austin, Texas, in 2023. The regulatory environment, the taxes, the operating costs, it was just unsustainable, he explains. I could pay my employees a fair wage, but they couldn't afford to live anywhere near the office. Now, my employees can buy homes, and my business expenses are significantly lower. It's a win-win. Is there hope? Solutions and future outlook. The narrative of California's unbearable cost of living is undeniable. Yet to declare the California dream entirely dead would be premature. There are dedicated efforts, innovative solutions, and a growing recognition of the urgency of this crisis. The question is not just if there's hope, but what can be done and what the future might hold for the Golden State. One of the most critical areas of focus is housing reform. While the state has historically faced headwinds, there's a concerted push to streamline permitting processes and incentivize new construction. Legislation like Senate Bill 9, SB 9, enacted in 2022, allows for duplexes on most single-family lots and lot splits, theoretically increasing housing density. Assembly Bill 2011, passed in 2023, aims to accelerate affordable housing development by allowing residential projects on commercially zoned land. These policies, while controversial in some quarters, represent a shift towards prioritizing housing supply over restrictive zoning. Efforts are also underway to fund affordable housing projects, such as the $15 billion set aside in the 2021 to 2022 state budget for housing and homelessness initiatives, targeting both direct construction and rental assistance programs. Community land trusts and nonprofit housing developers are also playing a crucial role, creating permanently affordable housing options by separating the ownership of land from the buildings on it. Initiatives like the creation of tiny home communities and accessory dwelling unit (ADU) programs are gaining traction, allowing homeowners to build smaller, more affordable living spaces on their properties. In 2023, ADUs accounted for nearly 20% of all new housing permits in California, a significant step. Beyond housing, there's a growing movement to address the underlying economic disparities. Discussions around increasing minimum wages to a living wage, expanding access to affordable health care, and investing in public transportation infrastructure are ongoing. For example, California's statewide minimum wage increased to $16 per hour in 2024, one of the highest in the nation, aiming to provide a stronger baseline for low-income workers. The rise of remote work, accelerated by the pandemic, offers another potential avenue for relief. Many California companies now embrace hybrid or fully remote models, allowing employees to live in more affordable regions of the state or even outside of it, while still earning California salaries. This can help distribute wealth and population, easing pressure on high-cost urban centers. For instance, a software engineer earning a Bay Area salary can now live in Sacramento or even Portland, Oregon, significantly improving their purchasing power and quality of life. However, the challenges remain immense. The scale of the affordability crisis requires sustained, multifaceted solutions and political will. NIMBYism, not in my backyard, continues to be a powerful force against new development. Infrastructure, water resources, and climate change also present long-term hurdles. Yet, glimmers of hope exist. There are individuals and families who, through careful planning, strategic career choices, or by embracing alternative living arrangements, are making California work for them. They are finding ways to thrive, proving that the dream, while redefined, is not entirely extinguished. The future of California hinges on its ability to reconcile its golden allure with the everyday realities of its residents, to innovate not just in technology, but in social equity and sustainable living. It will require bold leadership, community cooperation, and a willingness to confront difficult truths about growth, supply, and distribution of wealth. Your California story. Call to action. We've explored the complex tapestry of California's cost of living, from the dizzying heights of rent to the quiet squeeze of everyday expenses, and the difficult choices many face. But this isn't just a story told through statistics and anecdotes. It's a lived reality for millions. Is California still a dream or a nightmare for you? We want to hear your voice, your experience, your perspective. Like this video if you relate to the challenges or the hopes we've discussed. Subscribe for more content exploring the critical issues shaping our communities and economies, and hit the notification bell to ensure you're part of the ongoing dialogue.